Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook. Got my guy, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, in the house. Pat, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. It's just getting closer and closer, man, to that time. But it was exciting, have a great week this week. Being able to get some content about the Vikings. For me, school's starting back up, so getting back in that. So, just excited for another opportunity to be on this podcast with you.
Yeah, man, everything is leading toward that Monday night game versus the Chicago Bears. In the meantime, we get little snippets. You and I went to the joint practices. We're treated like kings over there with the Minnesota Vikings thanks to your hookup. Listen, man, I didn't realize how integrated you are with the Minnesota Viking brass over there. It seemed like everywhere we went, people knew who Patrick Buchanan was in the Minnesota Vikings organization. I didn't realize how much you had your fingerprint. It was really, really impressive to watch, man. Like the people and the relationships that you have built over there.
Yeah, man, it's just being around him. I'm right next door to him, right? And I love them. It's my favorite sports team, an all sports team, right? Them and my Sooners. So I just, they're next door. We built a great relationship. As a fan, I try not to be a fan all the time. And I have to learn how to be professional with them, right? And to have certain type of conversations. At the end of the day, what I've really learned is everyone over there loves talking about this team. So they love talking about the direction, the organization, the GM from the head coaches, with all the coaches and the players. I've learned that you can be a fan and still have great conversations with them over there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And again, hats off to the Minnesota Vikings staff and the service they provided us over there, man. That was really big time. Getting into the Minnesota Vikings and what we saw, let's start with the first day of joint practices with the New England Patriots. I've always been on the other side of this thing where I'm like, okay, these guys need to play in the preseason. But the coaching part of me came out when we went over there because I saw the amount of work they got done in those joint practices. I mean, really, when you look at, let's just start at J.J. McCarthy. When you look at J.J. McCarthy, man, it was like no other quarterback really got a whole lot of reps other than him. I mean, he got about, 55 to 60 reps, and I'm talking about throwing the football, 7-on-7 drills, 11-on-11 drills. So at the end of the day, when I look at the amount of work that J.J. McCarthy was able to get in, that's way more work than he would have been able to get in a preseason game. You agree with that?
Oh, 100% agree. I mean, in the fact that you're getting that many reps with 1-versus-1s, right? And you're getting a different look. So it's not even is him getting the work, but the guys up front getting the work as well as we have a rebuilt offensive line. So I think became very valuable because everyone's getting the work. They get a chance to get on film. They get a chance to make quick adjustments, right? On the spot, more or less as you do in other sports. Because there's no game planning for that. You're walking in. You have a little bit of what they might do, but it's not really game planning. So I think it was a great, you have your script, but you still don't know what the defense is going to do, right? So I thought it gave him the opportunity to be unprepared in playing the game and to see how he can work off of that. Right. So you get a chance to see who he is, but also some growth within it. He gets to learn some things. So I thought that was super valuable.
Yeah. And it gave you an insight in the way that Kevin O'Connell works. I mean, looking at that practice and being up close with it, there wasn't really ever a time where I felt like J.J. McCarthy came out of a rep where KOC didn't say something to him. So there was a lot of teaching going on. Even when he made the right play, there was also that level of positive reinforcement. If he made a mistake on the play, KOC came in and tried to correct that. So there's a lot of teaching going on. I came out of that first joint practice, and I'm just talking on the offensive side of the ball, where I didn't think the offense had a great day. I didn't think the offense had a bad day either, but I saw some flashes of that offense being great, but I also saw some flashes of where some problems could lie. And Here's where I am with the offense. And really, it doesn't matter because I think they're going to have a lot of ebbs and flows. There's going to be days where they're really good, Pat, and there's going to be days where they're not so good. And the thing that really stuck out to me was, especially because Justin Jefferson wasn't out there, the wide receiving core. And I don't want people to get me wrong. Like, our wide receiving core is not weak by any stretch of the imagination. But where they are in terms of their development, I just came out of there like, okay, our wide receiver spots are really inconsistent. These guys don't separate well all the time. They don't get open all the time. And when they do get open and they get the opportunity to catch the ball, there's a lot of drops in there. That doesn't necessarily help JJ McCarthy. So I got on a recent podcast and I was like, man, I think they need to go out and get someone. What's your evaluation of the whole wide receiver team room, the unit? Do they need to add somebody? Like, what's your thoughts?
First, I want to say something. First, I mean, as we're talking about this wide receiver room, most people get viewership from the TV, right?
Yeah.
But when you're right there and, you're 10 yards away, if that, and you're getting a chance to watch them. If people don't understand this, Jordan Addison is special. That is different than any, like, Justin Jefferson is it, but it's almost like, T. Higgins have up there, these Devontae Smith, like these number
Totally
twos.
agree.
He
Yep.
is a 1B, right? Jets, and then is JA at 1B. Like, the dude, his footwork, his separation, getting in and out of his cuts and his moves is just fantastic, right? So then when you're watching that, and then you're watching others, right? You're watching the Luckies, the Speedies, the Ty Feltons, the Joneses, right? You see the difference. And there's a difference out there. There's next level athletes, and then there are athletes, right? And those guys are great athletes, but next level, like, and Keenan is doing the best with what he can with it, right? But it's, you can see there's a drop off, right? And the drop off of the separation, not the drop off of talent, right? It's the drop off of being able to get in and out, right, of your moves, right? And just the footwork and the acceleration in it is just different. And, Addison is favored a lot within it right now without Jets out there. But the reality is we're not going to have Addison for the first 3 games. And I know Jets will come in and replace that, and he'll see coverages. And because we know he's going to see people over the top always, right? These other guys are going to have to be better. And in my opinion, it's the same thing we had to go before. Speedy Nato stepped up at the time, right? I feel Hawkinson is going to be more of a value for us in it, right? I think you and I were talking about it, after camp, is that he might be, more wide, that spread out more, or leave the Y in with Oliver. I just believe there might be a lot more 2 tight end sets, allowing Hawkinson to go out there as a out wide, and spread out wide as a wide receiver as well. Yeah, there's things, but as I'm looking at camp and stuff like that, I think there's potential for some guys like Ty Felton. I love Tim Jones, right?
Yeah.
I think
He's
he
making
has
plays.
a lot of. I mean, my brother can make some plays, so I think they're getting coached up. They're getting coached up at a very high level. But at the same time, this was, if you said, oh man, they're going to be better when they're game planning for Chicago week 1, right? And they're going to have an idea of what the defense might do, or whatever it is. Okay, that's good. But then there's some things, sometimes people show things that you've never seen on film. And how do you adjust to that within the receiving room? So we know Jets can, we know Addison can, we know Hawk can. Naylor has showed me some that he can. It's just about being consistent. So it's about these other guys being able to step up. And I think they will be able to once the game plan comes into place. It's just not going, just watching it, coach, and we know this. Offenses are ahead of defenses. It's not going to be pretty right away. I wouldn't be mad if they went out and got another wide receiver, though. I wouldn't
They
be
have
mad.
to.
Like
They have
I
to.
wouldn't sit up here and say, man, you ain't need to do that, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also not gonna beg for him to as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm not in the film sessions, right? We got a glimpse within, and you can only see so much. That's why you have film. If we were to go back to watch film, there might be some great, really great things that we saw in there, and there might be some things that we didn't see so well. And that's what they have the opportunity to do, is dive deeper in that evaluation than us just within the moment.
Yeah. That's a great point. I mean, there's lots of things that you and I don't get an opportunity to see that they watch every day. I'm going to go off of what I can see, and I'm telling you right now, Pat, I think only because of the Jordan Addison situation and with him being out for those first 3 games and how important the first 5 games of the season is. Because I'm telling you, the Vikings have to come out of that thing, man, 4-1, 5-0. They have to do that because that next 4 games after the bye is so brutal for the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm not saying that they are going to go 0-4 in that stretch, but I don't think anybody will argue that there is that distinct possibility that that could happen. I mean, you got Philadelphia, you got the Chargers, you got the Ravens, you got the Lions. I mean, that's not a cakewalk. And then you got a little bit, I guess if you want to call it a break, you've got the Bears, but then you got, I believe it's Green Bay after that. So your start is going to be important. And because of where JJ McCarthy in his development, I think he needs all hands on deck. And I think he needs people that he can really rely on. And I think I was under the impression, okay, Jordan Addison's not going to be there. We're going to be okay in the passing game. There's a lot of ways, like you just said, man. You just made a great point. They may go 2 tight ends a lot. They may end up running the football a lot to kind of alleviate being able to throw the ball a lot more. But man, I just worry about Addison being out those 3 games and looking at even if you look at the exhibition today, and we'll get into it, you look at the second and third stringers, they couldn't manufacture a lot of offenses. And there was a point in time I watched during that game, like they really didn't complete a pass to a wide receiver until like the second quarter, midway through the second quarter of that game. And they just don't have a lot of depth there in terms of their development. So I would like for them to go out and get somebody else as an insurance policy, more so because Jordan Addison is going to be out. Man, I'm just afraid that if they don't, that our offense is going to be more inconsistent than consistent. And we really don't need that the first 5 games of the season, man. We got to go out and we got to try to win those games.
Yeah, we got to go and try to win them. And, our yeah, I know that there's going to be other teams that have their number 2 or second best receiver with them. But I'm always a hindsight person, Coach, and my hindsight is it's an opportunity, right? And what are you going to do with this opportunity? Without Jordan Addison, it's going to be a great opportunity for someone else to become a safety blanket, right? Jets is going to be there, Hawks is going to be there, but who else can step up to really become a safety blanket and step up?
It's got to be Speedy Naylor. It's got to be Speedy Naylor.
It's got to be Speedy, but I'm even looking past Speedy for another one, right? Okay, Speedy's landing on the opposite side of Jets, right? You're going to need someone else to run routes outside of your tight ends, right? So who else can that person be to step up? But I don't think they're going to put too much on his shoulders, in those first 3 games. It's a great opportunity. If we can come out of there 3-0, fantastic. 2-1, because I honestly believe we can take the first 2. It's can our defense really slow down that high-powered Cincinnati Bengals in week 3 and us be able to, I think we'll be able to just move the ball on there. That might be one of the worst defenses in all of NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's just hands down. But it's being able to slow them down. So that is really, every game's a challenge because they're all pros, right? So I just think that becomes the most challenging, but we'll be at the crib and we'll be licking our chops, right? That like, man, JA coming back, right? And I don't hate to use JA with JA, right? Jordan Addison, I'll say coming back because that's JA Mr. Allen's, initials for
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah.
So, but it's damned if we do, damned if we don't type of situation right
Yeah.
there. But I just believe in the opportunity for somebody else to step up because we don't need you long term. Now, if they were to go get some, and it's not even a splash. Like a splash is this, like is picking up Amari Cooper a splash. It's a splash, right?
Yeah.
It's trading for Adam Thielen a splash. It's a splash because those are proven guys in the league, right? So if you're going to go get a proven guy in the league, I'll take it all day long, right? You just got to think about when Jay Addison comes back, what does it look like? So that's where I'm at with that.
Well, you look on the other side of the ball, man, and I heard some mixed reports. It's kind of funny how, you get like 50 people in the room. Everybody has different perspectives. They were talking about that first joint practice that the New England Patriots were making some plays against B-Flow's defense. And I have to educate people and keep people in mind with this. Number one, they didn't have Van Ginkel there. He was out with some injury. They didn't disclose what the injury was. And then Harrison Smith, I think you noticed it right away. When the players start coming out on the field, you were like, hey, coach, where's Van Ginkel? And then we found out Van Ginkel had some sort of injury. And then Harrison Smith wasn't even there. He was out sick. So those are two pretty key pieces to your defense, not to make excuse, but here's where I'm going with the defense on that day. Like, they weren't hitting to hit. I mean, they were thumping. They were thumping out there, so they wouldn't hit it. They weren't hitting to hit. Travion Henderson had a good day, but when you can't thump somebody, they should have a good day if they are legit. And B-Flow is experimenting with a lot of stuff. When I watch his defense, man, he's got a lot of exotic formations out there trying to come at people from different angles. You saw a little bit of it today in the preseason game as well. But the one area of this team that I am not worried about is Brian Flores's defense. That defense is going to be tough. That is a tough defense. That is, if there's any guarantee on this team, Pat, it is B-Flow's defense, man.
It's like,
if there's any guarantee.
I mean, is this the one thing that probably no one in the entire National Football League, like it is, you go to any network, you can go to any state, right, where they have a team and their broadcast, and if they're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to talk about KOC as being the whisperer, right, and a fantastic, one of the best play callers in all of football, but culture building as well. But then they're going to talk about, these are the exact words, best defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not even close, Pat, in my opinion.
But then, that's fine. You say best defensive coordinator, but shit, he's got the pieces to be the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, right?
More than any year that he's had since he's been here.
Exactly. So he has the pieces. There was a difference in day one and day two, right? I think some stuff happened in day one at the joint, but day two, it was all kibosh, right? And it was bad for New England on both sides of the ball in day two. But in day one, here's another thing. If everyone goes back and you can look at things, you can't touch the red. The Reds would have been touched on a lot of that stuff.
A lot
of it. So yeah, you could say X, Y, and Z happened, but if I'm getting touched, that ball doesn't come out the same. Nope. They're holding up and they were letting guys play through things, right? They allowed him to make his throw when it's a sack, right? They allowed him to make a throw when that would have been a hit on court, right? Getting a hit. So people gonna look at it the way it was, right? And then that's without, I ain't even gonna talk about without the Gink and Harris. I'm just talking about what I was able to see and know what was happening over there. Like I was like, oh, that's sack, and then I look, oh, it's a long ball. Well, I'm looking like that's a sack, or he getting hit, right? And when you can't step through a throw, you can't get it the same way down the field. So, yeah, I mean, things are going to happen. They got it. That's when you got to, there's no conversations about that at all. If we, and I'm like, we can talk left and right about the defense, but if we want to talk about some of the surprises, like we heard early on the front sevens, we heard about, Dallas Turner then, right? But man, Elijah's name is out there.
Yeah, he's on the come up.
Yeah, Mr. Williams, I think this is how I can describe this young man, right? like a young Pat Williams, Jerry Ball
Yeah.
type of guy, right?
Yep.
We can remember that as Vikings, those two guys up there in the middle, and that's a guy that's going to be in the rotation. He's in that rotation with those other three down linemen. So that's that's man, he's phenomenal addition to the defense. Coach, I watching the preseason game today, and you could tell me how you felt. Like that linebacker room is really difficult to crack. Like
It's
me and you,
stacked.
I don't remember if it was on the podcast or off the podcast where we were really talking about right of the roster of them keeping. Like how many linebackers can you keep? Because
Yeah,
that
it's deep.
linebacker room is deep, Coach.
Yep,
And,
it's
and I
deep.
worry about some guys, right? We had the feeling about Brian Asamoah right headed out, but man, I'm looking at guys like Richter and Murphy, and like how can you stay in that room because you still got your Ivan Pace, Cashmans, and King, but on the perimeter, you got JG and Vink, uh, Van Ginkel, and then you got Dallas Turner. Okay, that's your best three. And then if you're looking at it, you got Murphy and Bo Richter. Okay, is that five of them? But then how many middles are you keeping?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
oh man, it's woo woo.
Yeah, I think a lot of Minnesota Viking fans, they get emotionally attached to a lot of these guys, more so in the linebacker room. Guys like Bo Richter. I'm a big fan of Kobe King as well. But when you start just jotting people's names down on paper, because I do think a guy like Dallas Turner, I think he's going to play a little bit of inside linebacker at times when they really need to get after the quarterback. Because B-Flow's talking about, hey, we're going to put Dallas Turner on the field at the same time as Gink and Grenard. And I'm like, okay, well, how you going to do that? It's got to be at inside linebacker a little bit on those rush plays. So, man, I'm with you, Pat. Like, I do not envy KOC and the boys when they have to sit down and make those final cuts and decide who's going to be on the practice squad, because it's not going to be easy. You can also add, the veteran Wilson that we got from the Green Bay Packers. He was with us before for 5 years. Now he's back. He's a productive linebacker as well. Man, it's that linebacker room is daunting. It's deep. Everybody's talented. I knew Brian Asamoah was going to get cut. I didn't expect for him to get cut this early. I thought they were going to let him go through training camp, but it sounds like they wanted to give him an opportunity to get on another team before, all of these cuts came and he was in a pool of people that were trying to find teams. But man, it's not going to be easy getting down to that 53, especially that linebacker room, Pat. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, the front seven, man. If you look at the front seven and you say to yourself, I like me and you, we go back and forth. I always keep saying, okay, defense keeps 25, offense keeps 25, and then you got your three, your kicker, your punter, Will Riker, right, and then your long snapper, right?
Yep,
So
yep,
always say those are the three specialists, right? So now it's 50, 25, and 25, right? If it's 25 and 25 and they kept like 6, 7 D backs, let's say they
yep,
kept 7 D
yep,
backs, that would allow you, right? 7 or 8 D backs. Let's just say 8 D backs, right? That would allow them to keep 17 guys up front between the first two levels at the defensive line and the linebacker room.
yep.
I think in that case, a lot of these names we're saying would be on the squad, right? But is that how they look at it? I don't know,
Yeah,
right? If you go 8 defensive backs, right, and then you keep those guys up front because a lot of them can play special teams for you as well, right? I think that's the way to look at it. 17 guys up front with a front seven is pretty dang good, you
yep.
know.
And then you also have the ability, Pat, there's going to be some surprise roster moves all over the NFL. You don't know who's going to become available that can enhance your defense at the cut down line. So you also have that aspect going into it as well. Let's jump back to the second practice, the second joint practice, because I thought it was, I guess I'll call it a statement practice, because I thought the defense did pretty well the first day, but they got criticized a little bit. And I got on here and said the offense was a little bit mediocre. They weren't great, but they weren't bad either. Pat, The second day was a response. And that is the sign of a good team, because it's almost like they paid attention to everything that was being said about them, or KOC went into the locker room and got on that ass a little bit and say, hey, we had to get better. You know what standard B-Flow has. So they came out with a whole different presence practice too. And I think it's safe for me to use the word that they dominated every aspect of that practice. Do you think the Vikings sent the message to were they sending a message to the Patriots? Were they just setting their standard? Or were they sending a message to the league? Because Diana Rossini was there, who's been really critical of the Vikings. So for them to come out like that, man, I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, you keep using the word, you said it 3 times, like, and standard, right? And
Yeah.
that's the word, because, listen to either John Allerton talk about it and you understand where this organization is at. Like, they know they're not this bottom 15. They're not in the bottom half of the league. They're in the upper half, and they're probably in the upper, third of the NFL, right? Out of 32 teams, they're in the upper third, and a team with ambition and knocking at the door within this 3-year window, right? So there's a difference between expectations and standards, right? And they have a standard in that building, and they didn't meet that standard, and film doesn't lie, right? I feel like the coaches had to. The coaches probably said stuff, but because of where their standards are and they knew that they performed below it, I think it became intrinsic into them, self-motivated. Like, think that became locker room leaders and understanding that they weren't at their standards. And then they kicked their ass so much, right? That Mr. Vrabel, Coach Mike, I love him. He was like, man, y'all is going to play in the preseason, right?
Yeah.
That's how mad he was, because you got your tails whooped. The offense was doing whatever they want to. If I wasn't mistaken, I think it was like they had like 13 straight completions, like on that against that defense, right? And then that offense over there couldn't move the ball at all. Like, Drake May could do nothing with them with moving the ball at all. You're always going to give up a play here and there, but if you are dominating 90% of the snaps, that means something is going right for us, but really wrong for them, right? And I think it was the difference of a team who was in the top 4-5 teams last year in the NFL in the Minnesota Vikings and got better, and then a team who was on the bottom, 4 or 5 in the NFL, finally meeting up and us saying, okay, let's not play down to the competition. Let's play at our standard and who we are.
Yeah, I remember when you and I were at practice, we were sitting together, and I believe you were looking up on your phone the rankings of the defenses in the NFL, and we looked at the Patriots as having a top 10. I think you said they were ninth or something like that, because the Vikings were struggling at the time. This was the first practice, and you're like, okay, JJ and the boys are going up against this ninth ranked defense. This is good. And for them to be able to come out, like you said, 13 for 13 at one point during that second scrimmage against a defense that is not the best defense in the league, but a well-respected defense in the league. Mike Vrabel's got them now. For them to be able to do that, that is a statement, and that's hats off to J.J. McCarthy, especially being able to come back from day one.
Oh, definitely. He needed that. I don't know what they talk about within some things, and in that day one, he threw a couple of picks and 1v1s and the 7-on-7 or whatever. And then when they went to 11-on-11, he held the ball, right? And he just wouldn't throw it, like, didn't throw it away or whatever. And I don't know how they do things or whatever, but it became a heads and tails thing, right, for him, of really going through his progressions even much quicker and getting the ball out of his hands, right? Because we were sitting back there counting, right? You remember we were back there 1,000, 2,000, like, and just watching him get this ball out, right? Just counting, and like it's literally like, if you ain't got that ball out on 3, you taking off. Like, there's seldomly gonna be pockets like that, and just to see that close, that 1, 2, 3, like, you gotta hit them progressions like 1, 2, 3, like, and that's it. So I think he did a great job bouncing back. But once again, I'm not going to be a high critical person on him at all. Like I am, in my opinion, 17 games are going to get played out before I criticize him, because I do believe in growth. But when we do come off the bye week, I mean, I'll have a analysis of where he is and what I believe he is, and I think he should be ahead of where he was in week 1. If you can see the progress, then you can see the progress, and he doesn't need to go out and be a hero. Now, here's the one thing that I gotta say though: do you know that in KOC's era here, we've never thrown for under 4,000 yards?
I can believe that.
So
I didn't know that offhand, but I definitely can believe that.
yeah, never thrown for under 4,000 yards, and I believe it's been 30 touchdowns every year as well.
Yeah.
So to say that we've done that with some people that have come through here, I mean, and yeah, he's not going to show it, but I once again, I trust in the man. The man has not proved us wrong since day one as a coach and what he does with quarterbacks and offenses.
Yeah, I think that stat that you just said is way, way incredible when you think about the Kirk Cousins year where he popped his Achilles and he had a carousel of quarterbacks coming through here, and he got the best out of those quarterbacks. I mean, I think that year people don't give him a lot of credit for. He's 4th on the list in terms of active coaches in terms of winning percentage.
Yep, within their first 3 years.
Yeah, within their first 3 years. And so you look at that, I think that's really impressive, especially when you put the year that Kirk Cousins and those guys were hurt and he had to try to piece together that quarterback room. And I think he did a fantastic job with that. When you look at the preseason game today, Pat, like I want to focus on because here's what we got to see. And I think you mentioned it. I thought Mike Vrabel wasn't happy with the way his team performed in joint practice too. So he had his guys out there, his first string guys out there. They played, I think, 2 series at least. Of course, the Minnesota Vikings went with their second, third string guys. More importantly, they went with Sam Howell, man. What was your impression with Sam Howell? Like for me, I've seen enough, honestly. I wouldn't want to go into a season where we've got this team and we had to rely on Sam Howell. Like I just think we need to upgrade that as well. I don't know where we upgrade it, how we upgrade it, but I haven't been pleased with what I've seen from Sam Howell.
Be honest with you, Coach. I'm gonna be honest. Like week 1, he was good, and whether he was going up against number ones or not, dude, you started 17 games in the NFL before, right? And this is just my honest opinion, and it's not going to specifically just sit on Sam Howell. And this is not because the man played here last year in college, but Max Brosmer would be in the game way before Sam Howell or Rip.
He's better, Pat. Pat, he's better. He's better.
Brosmer, his ball is ridiculous.
Yeah, like he's better.
He understands football. Like I mean, the eye test is I'm watching, and I'm like, I look at the situation that they got in your homeland in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
And how they got things going on with that quarterback. And, after the young fella, Shadur, has a great game, they don't move him up on the depth chart, right? And I'm watching Max, and I'm like, and I'm looking at that, I'm like, keep challenging him. Don't give it to him after 1. Like, keep challenging him, keep him humble, and let him keep earning that, right? And it's kind of like Max is still in that pecking order at number 4, and let him keep earning it. Because no matter if they didn't finish that drive or not, I think some of these guys got to have some better hands and be able to adjust to some balls, right? And then take something off that fastball you got. But the man throws a beautiful ball. The man throws a beautiful ball, and I have not seen Rip or Sam throw balls like he can throw the football, right? And I would love for him, if number 2s are going to be in the last preseason game, I would love for him to get some number 2 snaps out there. Because right now, if you ask me, I feel more comfortable with him coming in the game before I felt comfortable elsewhere. Now, yes, I know 17 starts is different, but some people are able to grasp things better than others.
Yeah. And here's where I am. If I'm on the coaching staff of the Minnesota Vikings, like I've seen enough of Rip. Like I don't even think Rip is in this conversation. So I'm with you. What I would do is I would give Max Brosmer at least a quarter and a half with the twos to start next preseason game. And then I would give the next bulk of time to Sam Howell because he needs that time. Right now, the Minnesota Vikings are making a decision on who's going to be number 2. I just don't, other than experience, I just don't see where Sam Howell beats Brosmer. Like, I don't see it in the throws. I don't see it in the decision making. I don't see it in the consistency. The only area where I will concede is what you said earlier in the podcast. We are not in the quarterback rooms. We are not in the practices every day. We are not in the film room. So if there is something else that the coaching staff is seeing from Sam Howell other than experience, okay, I'll have to give that to the coaches. Maybe they're seeing something. But everything that Max Brosmer puts out there that I see in comparison to Sam Howell, man, he is just a better quarterback. I didn't know this stat that he set, what was it, the record for completions with the Minnesota Golden Gophers last year, completions or completion yards. I can't remember what it was. My mistake for not having that prepared, but this is with the Minnesota Golden Gophers football program. Like, you got to think about the air whacker times where all they did was throw the ball when they were run and shoot, and they were putting up, 300-400 yards a game. He even surpassed that with that personnel. And now he's coming in, arguably playing with the best guys, the most talented guys that he has ever played with in his life. And he is showing out right now. I think the kid can play. I don't know if he's a number 2 right now.
He's not number 2 right now.
I'm just saying
he's better than the rest of them in number 2.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. He's better than Sam Howell and the rest of the crew. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And this, I don't know what the popular opinion on this is because I know they're going to be dealing with some things out east and with the G-men out there. And I'm going to just say a name. It may not be popular in Minnesota, but I believe that he's going to be a quarterback coach and possibly a coordinator sometime in the NFL. And I would bring Jameis Winston in. Like if they let him go, I would bring Jameis Winston in. And I wouldn't mind bringing Jameis Winston because Jameis Winston knows he's a backup quarterback, right? But Jameis Winston is smart. And Jameis Winston understands how to wait his time or be a professional and ready when needed, but he also knows how to help younger quarterbacks out and how to talk to them. That is just because I've been watching him as now. The thing is, I know you're like, that fool be turning the ball over when he did. Well, hopefully J.J. McCarthy don't ever go down, right?
Right.
So that becomes the thing. But he is there's times where you be like, James, look at that arm, right? Where he feeling his rhythm, feeling his whatever. I just think he would be pretty good because he has a big arm. And I think KLC could whisper to him as well. Would be a great backup. That's my opinion, though. Right?
I don't think the Winston take is ridiculous at all. He is a turnover, but he's never had KOC. And when I see quarterbacks out there with potential, and I see what KOC has done with Sam Darnold, with the Pastronaut, Daniel Jones was a fool for leaving because he probably could have helped his career. You bring a guy like Jameis Winston in with his arm and his talent, and you get him in a room where he can get the tutelage of KOC, man, that could be a dangerous combination and a pretty solid situation for a backup quarterback to J.J. McCarthy. I wouldn't mind that at all. I just know in this room right now, if I had to go with a backup for J.J. McCarthy, it wouldn't be Rippon. And it just wouldn't be Sam Howell. Like I'm not solely comfortable with Max Brosmer either, only because he doesn't have the experience. But in terms of his talent, I will take it over the other two. But if I could bring somebody else in, I wouldn't mind Winston, man. I wouldn't mind Kenny Pickett either. I think anybody that can come in here and be taught is going to be huge for the Minnesota Vikings, man. Let's talk about B-Flow's defense going into the season. Obviously, they were very vanilla today. they showed some signs of trying to throw some looks at the Patriots. But again, man, what do you look forward to in this defense coming up against the Chicago Bears?
It sexy, exotic,
Yep.
right? And that's just who he is, right? When you're sitting back watching these preseason games, you're like, this is not what we accustomed to. This vanilla, right? I am just I look at B-Flow as like that kid on Christmas Day, and Monday Night Football is going to be Christmas for him, right? Because he really gets to unwrap his new toys, right? And I think and you get to do it on prime time, and they might be the reason why we winning, all right? Or they're just dominating that much. And I feel bad in a sense for Caleb Williams, because I do want the young brother to be successful. And I know the struggles that's been going over. Like I've read everywhere and listened everywhere, whatever. But I just expect for him to unleash the dogs and no hold bar type of thing.
Yeah.
The game planning for that, because I don't believe that they would have picked up Ben Johnson's offense yet, right? And I don't think that he's ready yet to carry. Like, if they had to play a game tomorrow, Chicago Bears would not be in a happy place of where they are right now, as of where they are today. And I'm excited to see the back end. The front seven, I just want to sit back and just be smiling. But I expect him to control the game, right? I expect him to control the game from a defensive standpoint, right? I think there's things KLC is going to do. But I want to see what he throws at them of unwrapping those toys. And that's Gravedigger, and that's J.A. And then somebody said it today. Do you feel like that Gink and JG are the best tandem linebacker?
They are the best tandem. They are the best tandem edge rushers in the league.
Okay. And so to unleash that as well, right? And then to be able to see what this back end is going to be able to do, because he's going to have moments where he doesn't throw something at him, and then we're just in regular coverage, to be able to see what our backs are able to do. And I want to see how many takeaways we can get in the game, right? I just want to see it all, man, because it's a special thing that's over there on that side. And it's been a while since we've seen something special like this. It's usually just 2 or 3 guys that we've been able to talk about through our time with the Vikings, right? Back before, like, I'm talking about after, the Bud Grant era. And to be able to talk about 9 guys, like, and I'm talking about starters, not even guys coming in,
right,
in rotation. That's what I look for. But I mean, what about you in that sense with Flores and that D?
I think we're very lucky and very fortunate. The news came out that Flores is going to be able to continue on with his lawsuit. And again, man, I'm kind of torn with that, because I look at Flores and I want him to be able to get a head coaching job if that's what he wants. But I know that's not going to happen as long as this lawsuit continues. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction he goes with that. I wasn't mad to hear that news. That just said to me he's going to be a Minnesota Viking for probably longer than we think. This is the best defensive coordinator that we've had since Mike Tomlin. And we've had some good ones, man. We've had Leslie Frazier. We've had Mike Tomlin, and his defense was nasty here when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. I would even debate people to say that he is better than Mike Tomlin. I think he hasn't been able to prove that yet, because he hasn't had his guys. This is the first year where he is going to have his guys. I expect, barring injury, that the Minnesota Vikings defense is going to be dominant. I think it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show Monday night against the Bears, because the complexity of their offense, combined with the rookiness of their quarterback, not being on the same page together as their head coach and the quarterback, I think it's the perfect storm for a train wreck. And I think it's going to help. It's going to help J.J. McCarthy that night, because no matter what type of dog J.J. McCarthy is, he's going to be a little bit nervous. This is his first start. It's Monday night, Soldier Field. The lights are on. but I think he's going to. The Chicago Bears are not going to be able to flip the field. I can tell you that. So J.J. McCarthy is not going to have to worry about being in a bad field position. He's not going to have to make these 80, 90-yard drives. He's going to be primary. I'm willing to bet you that their average starting position is going to be at the Minnesota Vikings 40-yard line, 45-yard line. So now that offense only has to travel 60 yards. Will the Thrill right now is kicking the ball, kicking the hell out of the football. So, man, it is the perfect storm. And a lot of that is going to be because of what Brian Flores is doing with his defense. It is only, unless people start to get hurt, Pat, it is the only part of this thing that I really don't worry about. I had a little bit of worry about the secondary, but the secondary right now is holding up, man. Jeff Okudah, Isaiah Rodgers, Byron Murphy Jr. the second. I mean, these Blackman, these guys, Nudie, McGlothern. I mean, these guys are holding up in camp. So it's not the most talented unit, but it's a deep unit, and they fit. They fit what Brian Flores wants to do, man. So I'm excited about this defense. I think they are top 2 in the league, and they probably won't be 2, Pat. They probably won't be 2.
I'm with you. I don't. Oh man, that Monday night game cannot come quick enough. That we better not have soccer that night. I hope I can go to soccer game.
Hey, you're gonna have to get out of that soccer game. You're gonna have to get out of that.
Listen, man, them kids gonna have to understand, hey, I'm not there to support you that night. The Vikings is playing, Nah, it's fantastic. When you were sitting up there and talking about our starting spot, it got me thinking about something else, right? Special teams, right? And I'm gonna just tell you something right now. I love when KOC, the third quarter, if you were watching it, just listen to him, whatever. And he said something significant before the punt came to Miles Price, right? And he was like, if he can make one miss, he can do things, right? And then he took the punt return for probably like 15 yards, great field position. And then he took a kickoff return. I don't know how he got called. He should be mad that he got called. I don't know how he got called.
He ran out of gas. He ran out of gas.
He took that angle on him, right? So like that, I think that they found him, right? That's the guy. That's the guy, right? Miles Price is your guy back there. Like he's your guy, right? Rondale Moore goes down. I believe he is your guy back there early on, and that helps with the field position as well. I saw some really great things out of Miles today, and I've seen great things out of him in the past game, right? Him and Max Brosmer have a connection like no other. Like Addison and McCarthy got right now, him and Max Brosmer got a connection like that. So right. I love Miles Price. So then you're asking yourself, okay, that's a running back in the running back room. Is that the number 4 running back then? Like, because he's special teamer, is that the number 4 running back? And then we missing out on somebody as the number 4?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he has this ability of what he did at Indiana and to bring it here on special team?
Yeah.
Like, what is your thought with that young man being back there?
I like him back there. I haven't seen, there's not another body I could point to and say, okay, this person is better. Like, I haven't seen that. But I like him back there. I think the fourth running back in that room and him being special teams is valid because I think Xavier Scott's going to be the third running back, man. If the Minnesota Vikings don't make that move, I don't know what they're thinking because he's a better pass blocker than Ty Chandler. You saw in practice him picking up some of those blitz.
Oh man, man, I wasn't even looking upfield. It was one where if that was real game, JJ was going to be laid out, and he came from nowhere and picked up a blitz like nothing else and left time for that man to go complete that ball downfield. I mean, he's a big guy. He's 6'1". He's a really big guy. And he just runs hard. He can run in between the tackles. He can catch. And you put him in open space, my man can move in open space.
Yeah.
I
don't know if you heard when KOC was talking about him during his third quarter interview, but they were talking about Xavier Scott. And he said that this guy is just learning how to become a running back. He's making that transition from wide receiver to running back. And that's a hell of a transition, man, because he hits holes hard, he runs hard. But if there was any hesitation on the Minnesota Vikings making him the third back, it would be that. He's going through a transition period. But from a layman like me, I'm not an NFL coach. He looks good. He looks better than Ty Chandler. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he looks really good. Something I want to touch on, I don't know if we touched on it really that much. And man, for years I've been talking about this, and I think this is all Minnesota. If you've been talking about KOC's offense, there's been one thing missing out of KO's offense in his first 3 years. What is that thing that's been missing that I think he finally figured it out?
Screenplays.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be a part of the offense this year, yeah.
The screen game in these preseason, the screen games that we saw out at camp, the screen game is real now. Like, we couldn't run screen, and maybe that was having the backs that we had or whatever, blockers.
Or the offensive line.
Offensive line, right? Holy crap, can we screen? Because now, if you want to pressure up and come get us, he's going to hit you. And he's such a fantastic play caller. Like, he talks about feeling, right? And feeling like he knows, like, every single screen we've thrown this preseason or at camp, no one was expecting it. Because sometimes, people can blow up screens. Just no one was expecting them when they come. And he's a fantastic play caller, but people about to pay attention. Watch yourself before you want to send people at JJ McCarthy, because that screen game is for real.
And just to have you rewind in your mind a little bit, Pat, right where we were checking out the Viking practice, right where we were sitting, remember the screen in the first joint practice where they went to, I believe it was Aaron Jones, and Donovan Jackson, our new rookie guard from The Ohio State, was leading the way down that sideline and obliterated two secondary guys from the New England Patriots, man. And this is why I say it's probably a combination of running backs, quarterbacks that can run the screen game, and offensive linemen that are versatile to get out front like that.
Yeah, if you were, I don't know how the people that were there watched it or watched it on video to replay. The most unique thing about that is that he messed up a couple of plays before, right? Like Jackson did. But Aaron Jones looked over his shoulder, and you would have said to yourself, like I was saying to myself, man, why ain't you hitting that burst of speed? You got nothing but space.
Right.
But Aaron Jones was so smart where he slowed his pace down and set that man up to get tossed 10 yards out the way and then touchdown, right? There was nothing you can do with that. So yeah, that was one of more of the highlights for us that day, I thought, on the play.
Yep. This team's got a lot of potential, Pat. I'm looking forward to it. I know we got to do the third preseason game, and I'm going to watch it. Guys are still trying to make this team, but I'm with you, man. I am so excited for this season to get started. We're even going to have to wait an extra day. Like when the NFL starts on Sunday, we won't get a chance to see our Vikings. I'll have a chance to watch some Cleveland Browns stuff. I'll probably lend an eye to that, man. But my mind all day is going to be on the Minnesota Vikings and that Monday night game versus the Chicago Bears, man. It's going to be good. We are definitely going to have you back on because I've been shouting to the world. I watch a lot of content creators out there, and you were the only one last year that I heard that almost picked the Vikings record right on point. I know you're the only one that had them in double-digit wins that I heard. So it's going to be interesting to see what you come up with this year. We're going to go through the schedule and see what you got. I'm going through it right now. I'm going to wait to see what this team is going to look like once they make all the cuts and add pieces, whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see what your record is going to be at the end of these 17 games, man. Have you been looking at the schedule yet?
I've looked at the schedule several times. I'm looking at other teams right now as well, and I haven't done it. Like I'm gonna wait for the live show to do it, just like I did before, and just go off of there of what I've seen and analyzed so far within other teams and where I feel like we're at and the reality of where JJ's at and how I feel like we probably are going to play to start and the way that the schedule meshed out, right? The one thing I know right now, I'm not going to, have 14 wins on that schedule, right? I think I know that. But I think it's one of I think for a team that's trying to get to where we're trying to get to, I think it's so as tough as the schedule it is, I believe is so favorable for us to be able to go to where we're trying to get to in that sense, right? It's not a cupcake schedule. And I just believe that iron sharpens iron, and to get to where you want to, you got to go through the best teams.
Yeah,
And,
that's a great
and that
point.
schedule really sets us up to be able to be battle tested, win or lose through those tough teams, to understand the type of games that we're going to play in January and February.
Yeah. Good point. Good point, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Only takes a second. Help Pat and I continue to pump out the content that we like to pump out to you guys. And Pat, anything you want to say to UP Nation as we wrap this thing up, man?
Nah, man, keep like Coach already says, hit that like button. Keep giving us feedback, right? I know Coach said, I think during the season we're gonna try to hit some live shows, right, or whatnot. I love being back on here. I love being, able to do this with you, Coach, and for the UP Nation and give our perspective, right? There's so many, and it's not that ours is right or someone else's, but I feel like it's a different perspective than some might give out there, and that's the great thing about podcasts.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste. You just got to pick your taste that's good for you. We are definitely going to be doing some live shows. Our goal is going to be at the end of each Viking game that night to do a live show to interact with you guys. You guys come on here and ask us questions. That is definitely going to be the goal. Then throughout the week, we'll do some pre-recorded stuff. Have you guys put some stuff in the comments. We'll answer them the next show. So there's going to be a lot of unconventional playbook content out there that you guys can tune in for, and we are happy to do that. For myself and Mr. Patrick Buchanan, the guru. Oh, and then again, we got to have our guy JT back on. JT was like, "Don't make this be the last time on the show." So we'll check in with JT. Former Minnesota Vikings great at some point during the season as well. But on behalf of my guy, the guru of Minnesota, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, and myself, Lionel Jones, this is Unconventional Playbook. We will see you when we see you. Skol.